Selection of driving jobs. Pick from drive-in, intermodal, tanker, and dedicated opportunities. Ready to be rewarded for your hard work and expertise? Find the right driving job for you at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Are you struggling with bad feet? Hi, it's Mike from the Good Feet store. I'd like you to hear what Kelsey, a kinesiologist, has to say about how your feet can affect your entire body.
When the foot's placed in the ideal position, everything else up the kinetic chain works better. You have better balance, more energy, you're going to feel better. Being able to move freely means everything to me, and good movement starts with the feet. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that they support all 4 arches in the foot.
So did you even know you had 4 arches in each foot? Most people don't, and most shoes and inserts only support one of your foot's arches. Learn how Good Feet arch supports can support all 4 of your arches. We want to help you walk, run, exercise, and play in comfort this year. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store. Visit the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road at Grove City.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
News Radio 610 WTVN Columbus, WOTC HD2 Asheville, an iHeart radio station, guaranteed human.
I'm Mike Gutowski. The Israeli military now says it's completed a broad wave of strikes against Iran's capital city of Tehran, specifically targeted at military infrastructure located at the city's airport. ABC's Matt Rivers is in Beirut, Lebanon, with the latest.
Explosions rocking Tehran yet again. Israel says they began a new wave of strikes in the capital city. Iran has been ramping up its retaliatory strikes throughout the week. On Friday, fires seen erupting at U.S. logistics offices and warehouses in Iraq after an Iranian drone strike.
Iranian leaders are now saying that Tehran will not attack other countries in the region so long as they don't cooperate with U.S. military action. In a meeting with Latin American leaders at a summit in Doral, Florida, President Trump began the event by talking about the war in Iran, calling it a pretty wild time, and that American forces have made tremendous progress.
We've knocked out 42 Navy ships, some of them very large, in 3 days. That was the end of the Navy. We knocked out their Air Force. We knocked out their communications, and all telecommunications is gone.
Right now, the president is traveling to Dover Air Force Base, where he'll attend the dignified transfer of 6 fallen U.S. soldiers, marking the return home of the first American soldiers killed in the war with Iran. The conflict in the Middle East is also putting pressure on gas prices. Some residents in Covington, Louisiana, like Jerry Dalpiaz, fearing the worst.
The day that they announced that the United States has started military operations against Iran, I thought that would be a good time to go and fill up my cars.
The national average for a gallon of gas was $3.39, up more than 40 cents in the last week. At least 6 people have died from a tornado outbreak across the central part of the country in the last 2 days. You're listening to ABC News.
Are you there, Al?
Bail has been set at more than $1.7 million for a Maumee man accused of sexually assaulting a juvenile that has been in his care. Kevin Ritchie was arrested on Wednesday and is facing a list of charges in the case. He's waived his right to a preliminary hearing. Dozens gathered Friday afternoon near the field where the bodies of 2 young sisters were found Monday evening.
JC?
The vigil was to honor and remember Moore Wilson and Mila Chapman. Speakers included Cleveland City Councilman Mike Polensek.
Probably. It's all right. She's not going to respond. We can talk about her.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, we know she's not listening.
Yep. Not listening. No Ella there.
Second child found.
She probably isn't. She's probably not in the room.
Help us.
All right.
God help us.
Some Ohio lawmakers are looking to implement a new alert system for kids who wander away from home. House Bill 359 would establish a Joshua alert in the Buckeye State. The proposed system is named in honor of an autistic 6-year-old who walked away from his home in 2024 before being found drowned in a nearby pond hours later. Joshua alerts would be sent out using the existing Amber Alert system. Work could begin soon at the site of a closed hospital in Lorain.
It closed back in 1997. Now Lorain city leaders claim that work at the former St. Joseph's Hospital will begin shortly. The site was entangled in a long-lasting legal battle, but now the Lorain City Council have agreed to a deal with the property owners. They'll drop the claims. The land bank gets the ownership. Lorain's engineering stormwater manager Kate Golden telling WEWS it's been a process with multiple owners since the hospital's closure, adding work will begin shortly pending weather conditions. The city of Lorain plans to prep the site for commercial or mixed-use developments. I'm Lee Mowen.
All right,
And
JC.
I'm Andy
Okay,
Betts.
We're good.
Your latest news, traffic, and weather.
If you're not informed, then you're out of the loop.
All you have to do is ask.
Play 610 WTVN on iHeartRadio.
Save big money on your next painting project with Menards. Get a paint that combines gorgeous color and durability. Dutch Boys Platinum Plus is a paint and primer with a protective finish that guards against scuffs, spills, and stains. Get $15 off instantly on a single qualifying purchase of $100 or more on Dutch Boy and Purdy products. Now through March 8th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in-store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 17 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com.
Coughlin has the car for you.
See an accident? Let us know at the Curtis & Associates Traffic Tip Line at 821-1111. Curtis & Associates, trust and experience of attorneys who care.
Guys, today's show, it's going to be like one of my favorite books. Yeah, I've read a book before, JC. It's going to be like one of my favorite books growing up as a kid. Remember those books that were called Choose Your Own Adventure? They were super cool. You kind of read through it, and at some point it says, hey, do you want your character to walk through the door? If so, turn to page 34. If you want your character to go up the stairs, go to page 42. They all had different endings. It was fascinating. You could read the book for, 6 months and never have the same ending. Well, today, the show might end up like that because, we're talking about opening up the phone lines here at the end because there's a current debate going on that we're going to talk about today that I'm torn on. I have an idea, but it's not absolute, and honestly, it's probably not popular amongst gun enthusiasts, but I'm genuinely interested to hear others' opinions on it. If no one calls, then we're going to go another route, and we're going to talk about something that's going to brighten your afternoon. That's flashlights, something that I like a lot. We have a bunch sitting here on the table. It's your choice. Before that, though, JC's going to have some news. We have a couple cool guns of the week, and then at 12:30, our good friend Stephen Gutowski from The Reload is going to call in to discuss something that is giving me a little bit of grief today. All that is up next on Target.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road. We are just west of 315 if you've never been here. If you've never been here, I don't know why you haven't, because we've been here about 14 years, JC, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
It's,
coming up in April,
yeah. I can't believe
April will be the 14th.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, speaking about creeping up, next week's kind of a big show for you, JC. You wait for it every year.
Every year.
I mean,
it doesn't always happen on the actual day, but
right,
it'll be Pi Day.
It is, and I'm contemplating donate or develop...
You're contemplating. See?
Yes, I am. I am thinking about devoting an entire segment to you and pie.
Oh, we shouldn't be doing. No, yeah. If it's real pie, I'll bring a fork and a plate, and that's what I'm looking for.
So there's your teaser for next week to come back and listen to Pie Days, guys. We are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, and are active in law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you facts about our industry and help customers and listeners with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today, we have no Big Ed. Big Ed is off on Bike Week. So, yes, we do not have Big Ed, although we are still live on Facebook and YouTube. So, we'll try to look at comments there on the breaks and stuff. But I do have JC with me. It's JC and me. How are you, JC?
Doing well. Boy, this weather looks good. I may be heading for worse weather here in a few days. So, yeah, I don't either. I don't know why I'm going to some place where the highs are below in the 20s and the lows are in the teens. But for a long stretch of time. So anyway, there you go.
JC, would you, we do a lot of diverse things around here. Would you think anything less of me, any less of my tough guy image here if I told you I was considering taking in a play this week?
Oh, a play?
I'm thinking about taking a play. There's this play that's been going on. What is?
That's why you're so well-rounded. You do the tough guy thing.
Yes. This play is called Love Song. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Love Song.
Yes,
I think I have heard of that.
There was this up-and-coming director out there who is directing it, and it's getting a lot of good reviews.
Well, yeah, if you got a good director, then you will get good reviews. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Have you, Ella? Are you there?
She's still not there. Ella has abandoned us.
All right,
we may be on auto.
What that means? We got full
we got everything.
Rain.
Yeah, no one on the button to knock out our words that we may say. So,
yes. So let's see what up. Yes, Love Song. Look that one up. Definitely worth looking up. Guys, today on the show, we got to first thank our good friend Mark Kohlhoff for jumping on with us last week. He, of course, is our insurance agent, and you might be saying, what the heck? How exciting can that conversation be? It was fascinating.
It was fascinating.
Something behind the scenes of insurance.
Yeah, we talked about, of course, what FFLs are going through and what the industry and how they were taking away insurance for that. But when it got down to the individuals, that was an eye-opener for me, too, when they were talking about, $4 per $100 of value to insure a firearm. Yep. I mean, whoa. So I think there's a lot of people out there that are underinsured.
Yep. Guys, JC's going to have some news coming up here shortly. And at 12:30, we're going to welcome back our good friend, Stephen Gutowski from, actually founder of The Reload. Hey, the stuff out there week to week is just fascinating. I spend so much time reading. I mean, I'm sure you do the same thing, JC. It's just
absolutely. And he's on top of everything. He's one of the lead informational, and he's just on top of everything.
He is. Before that, we are going to our Guns of the Week. Guns of the Week, JC. We're going to highlight two things that came in this week on an estate that, it's one of those things, John, that it's best that I put them out there, and we put them out at your reach, of course.
Yeah.
But it's best that we put them out there and talk about them because this is in my wheelhouse,
if
you will.
This is in your wheelhouse.
There you go. There's
That's
your tip
a little
of the
hint,
day.
too. So,
They're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous.
They are gorgeous.
And I tell you, one of the things I like about them, and I've never appreciated these until my later years, are the grips. The grips on these are really neat and
Stag grips are just are incredible. Yeah,
and
beautiful,
have some value to them.
And they do.
So that's coming up here shortly. Then at 12:45, if all goes well, we're going to open up the phone lines to get your opinion on a potential Supreme Court ruling that could have massive effects in the gun world. I'm talking massive effects, and honestly, I have strong opinions on this, and it may surprise you where I come down on this. But like any opinion, it's not absolute. I mean, I want to hear other people's opinion of this because I feel like my opinion is pretty strong on this, and I don't know if it's the right one. But so we're going to open up the phone lines, hear what you have to say if you want to talk about that. And then if you don't want to talk about that, we're taking another route. We're going to talk flashlights, which I know I want to talk about those.
That's a bright idea.
There you go. We like to thank our sponsors, U.S. Law Shield, Jackson Egress Windows, River's Edge Cutlery, Black Wing Shooting Center, and, of course, LEPD Training Facility, all who make this show possible each week. If you missed the show, the podcast is out there literally everywhere. iTunes, Spreaker, anywhere you get your podcast, iHeartRadio. We had a guy in this week from Arkansas, and he saw the set, and he's like, I'm going to start listening. So look for him to chime in.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
From there. And Facebook and YouTube, we're out there as well, as long as we don't touch a gun, say the word gun.
Yeah. We call that segment The Untouchables, because if I can't,
yes.
if I even go close to it, they seem to knock us off of everything.
There you go. So that's out there as well. JC, You got any news?
There's some major stuff going down here. It's happening. Well, now this is the District of Columbia, but it's District of Columbia's highest court, and I like this one. They struck down on Thursday, just a couple of days ago. They struck down the ammo magazine ban. I love this. So, D.C. Court of Appeals found that the city's ban on magazines that hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition is unconstitutional. And this is in D.C. Yeah. So, it's a 2-1 ruling. There was one Republican and 2 Democrats, and the one said, "Hey, I can't argue with this, with how it's presented." So the city court last resort determined that the magazines are in common use and therefore protected by the Second Amendment. So it tossed a conviction of somebody who had a 30-round magazine that he was convicted of. So here's what I love. I'm going to read this. Judge Joshua Deal, in his writing and his findings, says, magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition are ubiquitous in our country, numbering in the hundreds of millions, accounting for about half of the magazines in the hands of our citizenry, and they come standard in most popular firearms sold in America today. Because these magazines are arms in common and ubiquitous use by law-abiding citizens across the country, we agree with the defendant, Benson, in the United States District. Its outright ban on them violates the Second Amendment. So this is important because it's just one of a handful of cases here that determine that magazine capacities, you can't restrict that. It's unconstitutional to do that. So the panel, the prosecutor was holding up that, hey, wait a minute, this is not even an arm, and the panel focused entirely in this case on the Second Amendment against the magazine ban, and the ban, the majority concluded, ran up against Heller's holding that the Second Amendment presumptively protects any arm in common use by Americans. So first, they found that the magazines that hold 11 or more rounds meet the definition of arms. So that's very, very important. It started by rejecting the District of Columbia's argument that the magazines aren't protected arms because they themselves aren't used as an offensive weapon, and they're strictly necessary for functioning of a semi-automatic firearm. So the judge said, well, in the district's logic, states that banning 2 rounds or even 1-round magazine, that would be able to do that. And he said that's basically, it's ridiculous. And I love this where he comes to the end. So he said that he determined that the magazines are popular enough to be considered common use. The magazines facilitate armed self-defense, and law-abiding citizens possess hundreds of millions of them, and that should be the end of this inquiry. So
can we
there you
put
go.
This to rest? I mean, is this ever going to be put to bed?
Well, Supreme Court, and they've been putting this off because several states have banned that. Plus, several states have banned the ownership of modern sporting rifles. So this is great. I mean, it gives us. They said that this could have some legs in the fact that a lot of cities, a lot of in some states, and a lot of states are trying to ban anything over 10 rounds. So they said this could weigh in. So there you go. I think that's cool. Protected as arms.
County is listening.
I'm hoping so. Maybe we can send a copy of this to Zach Klein. Maybe,
there you go.
Maybe that would be good. Yeah. All right. Here's a Supreme Court one, and this is kind of even surprised you. Just this was on Tuesday, Monday. So the Supreme Court of the United States denied the opportunity Monday to weigh in on the Second Amendment rights of those convicted of nonviolent felonies. It said a felon is a felon is a felon. And it just kind of shut the door on people saying, well, it was nonviolent. They just said, look, this is a 50-year-old federal statute prohibiting felons from possessing guns, and they just refused to hear the case and remanded it back to the court that twice denied this person. Now, this person was a bounced check. I mean, but she was a drug addict, and she was homeless, and she bounced a check for almost $500, and she pled guilty. But now she's not a drug addict. She's a social worker, and she's helping rehabilitate folks, and it's in areas, and she feels that she needs some protection, and this should not constitute the denial permanently of her Second Amendment rights. And they said, sorry, that's the way it is. And this is
that's
kind
a
of
big
a big
one. I mean, that is, that's huge too.
That's a big one. Then we have states that are doing just stupid things. And, of course, it's the coastal states. But Rhode Island, last year they passed a ban where you could not sell MSRs, the modern sporting rifle. A lot of people just say the AR-15s, but all these what they determine and make up the term assault weapon. And they said, okay, well, you can grandfather you in, but you're not going to be able to sell and or purchase them. Well, now, that was just a year ago. Well, now they said, wait a minute. We don't think you should even be allowed to possess them. Even the ones that we said you could grandfather. No. So this is going forward. Rhode Island House Bill 9073 and their Senate Bill 2170. They're going to insert the word possession into the law. And the bill, and I thought, well, it must be in the future. But no, this would go into effect July 1st of this year for enforcement and give owners of the modern sporting rifle just 6 months or until December 31st of 26 to sell, transfer, destroy. You have to turn them into a licensed firearm dealer to an individual outside the state where it's legal to possess it, and it carries a criminal penalty of up to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine and forfeiture of the MSRs if they catch this. So
I think, JC, we should set up on the border of Rhode Island.
Amen. They did that in California with the magazines at one time. They were shipping everything out. So that was. Here's another story that it's really sad in several ways. But this is only the third time this has happened in Georgia. A jury found the father of accused Appalachia High School shooter. It was a 14-year-old shooter. They found the father guilty of murder and 27 other counts because he bought his 14-year-old and gave him a rifle. And I'm assuming, it was just an assumption because I did not see which one it was, but I think it was an MSR. And that student who went into detailed what he was going to do, went into school, shot and killed 2 students, 2 teachers, and wounded 9 others. In the high school, and they have found the father guilty of second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and cruelty to children for providing that firearm. So he hadn't been scheduled for, this has just happened this week, so he hadn't been scheduled yet for sentencing, but he faces up to 30 years in prison just for the second-degree murder charges, and then up to 180 years total, and because he... So if you have any children at home, lock the guns up, disable them, do whatever you need to do, keep them in a safe because, you just never know. Kids are under so much pressure and so much, everything's happening with kids today.
It's crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
JC, let's jump to a break. On the other side, we're going to get to a couple guns of the week, a couple announcements here at the store, a couple updates. Actually, one update that's kind of a crummy update, but I think it's worth passing on. And much, much more. We're OnTarget broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD. Firearms and Range will be back after the break.
Epic fury.
You know what, John?
Terroristic, radical regime cannot be ever allowed to have nuclear weapons. Whether you agree
and pour our hearts out.
A long time in my opinion here.
Or disagree.
To me, this is absolutely crazy that we're getting involved.
No.
This is American
Wait, did you hear what she said?
Anymore.
Now she has the radio blasting in the background. I can't hear nothing.
What station you should listen to?
I don't know. It wasn't us. I think that's the problem. Ella,
where is she?
You didn't sit there and listen to our opening, our talking back and forth?
I mean, listen to it. I was here.
So disappointing.
Did I take it in and digest it? No.
Well, obviously you didn't.
You didn't.
And you know what? I ain't going to tell you what it was. You need to go back and listen.
Okay.
Maybe you need to do it on a break.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. That's okay.
Well, it's good to hear your voice. Good to hear that you're there.
It's okay.
So she's going silent again. Okay.
Man, she's a tough cookie.
She is.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It was pouring out there. The rain was coming down so hard on the roof here. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It looks like it stopped now, but it was like torrential rain there for a minute.
No. I'm in the fortress. I don't know what's happening out there.
Really?
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Here we go.
10. 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
5 seconds.
Here we go. Dear ABC6, first warning weather. Today, scattered rain showers. Supposed to be in the afternoon, but a downpour just came through here at the store, and thunderstorms are likely. A few of those storms could be strong. High 73. Tonight, isolated storms are possible. Mostly cloudy skies. Low of 44. For Sunday, it's becoming sunny. It looks like it's going to be a nice day out there. High of 60. Currently 72 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
News, traffic, weather, sports, and the talk that makes sense. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Take a look at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got. Not much of a girlfriend, but never seemed to get along.
You know what, JC? Ever since Jasmine Crockett got upended this week, I've been on a super tramp kick. I don't know if there's any correlation,
I think there is a correlation there.
Is there? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Super.
Two of my workouts this week, I had a little super tramp going. I don't know whatever happened to them. Like, all these old bands are back touring, and you hear nothing about those guys. I don't know much about them.
Yeah, the ones that are touring usually don't even have any of the original band members. So
valid point.
They'll put one in or so. And
yes. Guys, welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the studio. I got JC sitting beside me. Ella is back at the apparently she's back there, JC. I think she's back there.
Sitting far away from you.
Oh. Yes.
There she is.
Hey, there's Ella. So we are getting to the Guns of the Week. We do a lot of stuff here with the states, and it's really neat. It's really honestly, it's what keeps me going sometimes, just the not knowing what's going to come in the door. This week we had an M1 carbine, JC, a Rockola. I didn't tell you about that. That came in and went out the same day. Just a lot of neat things.
Wow.
Well, one of the estates that came in actually a couple weeks ago that we talked about, the Hamilton rifles coming in, well, it also had some revolvers. And what we're kind of highlighting today for the Guns of the Week are two Colt revolvers that are still here. Both these are beautiful. One's 1930.
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful.
Police positives. 1930. It is a 38 special. So probably one of the earlier ones for a 38 special.
Yeah, 38 special came out in 1902.
Did it really?
Yeah, 1902.
Okay.
So it was out there, and it was available in 1903. So it was.
So this was a solid one. Stag grips. It's beautiful. I think it's a 3-inch barrel. Wow. And the other one is a Colt Cobra, I believe, from 1969. Again,
still beautiful
grips.
Yeah, nickel, really neat. The grips really set it off, and
yeah,
it is beautiful.
So these are here. I mean, these are iconic. These are things that if you're a gun enthusiast, it's always nice to have one or two of these old ones. I mean, there's so much history behind them. There
is, and they're still in use today by citizens. There were two this week. There were two armed invasions that happened this week. One in Georgia, and I think one in Connecticut. And what I loved about the one in Connecticut, that people were elderly, I think in their 80s, and he was watching a movie downstairs, and his wife was watching a different one upstairs, and someone had gained entrance to the garage and into the house, came in, and the guy's going, "Whoa, who's it? Get out of my house!" And the guy threatened to kill him, and and he got up and went and locked his door. But his wife was upstairs, heard the commotion, and she went for what she calls Sweet Jane. And Sweet Jane was a Smith & Wesson nickel-plated 4-inch barrel, a pencil barrel, and she just, you can see the video of her pulling it out where she's demonstrating it, and she sat there with that 38 special revolver and just waited for someone to come in that door. And after the police arrived, because they're in a little bit rural, it took about an hour for the police to get out there. So this guy was roaming around, and she was just waiting for him to come in. She was using the mirror to see if who's going to come up the steps, and
he would have had a nice discussion.
He would have gotten had a discussion with Sweet Jane. So it's still a great cartridge, great gun, and that was a good one.
And that video's out there, you said, right?
Oh yeah, the video's out there. You can just look it up, and it was from just look up. Elderly couple defends themselves with Sweet Jane.
That's neat.
Beautiful.
So these two revolvers are here. They're for sale. Yeah. They might be also on Gunbroker too. So get it kind of while you can, but stop in and see them. What else we got? JC, we have been on a kick of raffles lately. We raffled off a Daniel Defense H9. We only sold 35 tickets for that and raffled it off. And what odds? And then the next week we did the OA Defense. we sold just 70 tickets. It's a $2,500 gun.
Yeah.
Someone walked away with that, and then last week we raffled off the Glock 49.
Yeah.
And I think we only sold 30 tickets for that, and we try to keep it way low. So, stay tuned. We're gonna do that periodically. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be once a month or what, but we have a couple other ones in the hoppers that we're talking about putting out there.
Number of you have a great chance when it's like 30 to 1.
Yep.
That's great.
I also forgot to mention the Guns of the Week this week. We're sponsored by our good friends over at River's Edge Cutlery.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys are doing
Great guys.
wonderful over there. I need to stop by and see them because I'm in the bag market again. I don't know what happens to them. I think I have a closet full of them. I just have an issue with some of these go bags and stuff. But guys, on a kind of not good note, we talked last week a little bit about ammo, and we're seeing some things that we're cautiously watching. Last week we mentioned 380 is nowhere to be found. We have some defensive, but 380 range ammo, we have literally a few boxes back if you buy a 380, so you have an opportunity to buy a box. But that is it, and there's nothing imminent on the way. It's not a panic mode, but it is certainly something to watch. Now, what's a little more disturbing is this week there was a little panic run on 9mm.
Yeah.
And we talked about it last week a little bit. We saw our costs from our main distributors going up a little bit on the box of 9. Not horrible. It was probably under $1 a box.
But still,
we were right on the edge of whether prices should go up. Well, then this week, everything went up $2 a box.
$2
for 9, and we had to follow suit on that. It is our distributor sold out. There's no 9 in the pipeline at the moment. But that's not as ominous as it sounds because they get shipments all the time from the manufacturers. It could have been just a little blurb because of what's going on overseas and people running on it for a minute. So it's not panic time, but it's certainly interesting to kind of keep tabs on.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if we have an uncle named Sam who may be sucking up some of those 9mm.
I don't know. Well, and then
you think their contracts would be?
Well,
so
you
far
saw
in
one of the
advance?
stories about Lake City this week about how they don't want Lake City selling ammo to the general public.
They mean this, especially
Right.
this one female Democrat who just wants. Oh, what they sell to? We got to stop that. And it's been that contract runs for 10 years. So different manufacturers. Winchester has it right now, but that's how it kind of works. But they said, look, we need the revenue coming in to keep the employees there, to keep everything going, because if when they're not making it for the military, the machines are sitting idle, and there's a need for it. And so far we've been able to hold out on that. But of course, anything they can do to take anything away from us, they will do. They have no respect for the Second Amendment.
None. Guys, let's jump to the bottom of the hour news. On the other side, we're going to talk to our good friend from The Reload, the founder of The Reload, Stephen Gutowski, about a Supreme Court, something that they're going to decide upon here shortly that has potential huge ramifications. We're OnTarget broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range. We'll be back after the break.
Mortgage rates have dropped.
This was interesting. This will be very quick, but they're now keeping track of the top 5 states in Nick Shexwell. It was interesting. It was almost a 50-50 split between rifles and handguns. So they listed.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's do that at the end. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then we have this mayor from Rapids. I mean, that was horrible.
Okay, we got Mr. Stephen on the line.
All right.
Okay, then.
I don't know if you had a chance to congratulate him earlier or not.
No.
So we need to. I mean,
he just got married, right?
Yeah, got married very, very recently, and so I almost made a faux pas in our conversation. Didn't intend to, but I said he always keeps on top of everything.
Yeah.
And they said, he just got married. And I'm going, okay. Oh, no. That probably was, that could have been interpreted a little bit. Yeah, it was. That's what I was going to say. And I went, I can't say that.
Hey, no Mr. Bachman today. He must have gone. He was going to go to Indy for is Big Ten girls tournament going on or something?
Well.
Or he was going to go. He had some Indianapolis trip he was going to go on.
Well. Oh.
Were you?
Doing okay?
Yeah, like it was bad reaction from an antibiotic. I had bad GI disorder.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Our other couple who's always here. I texted him. They were in Key West.
Yeah, I knew that.
Something like that.
Yeah, the Bartletts.
Yeah, what a ripoff. How do they?
Yeah, they seem to, because we were going to get together with them. I thought Deb would really enjoy them too, and they said, well, maybe in March. I'm going, so they go down for a while. Key West,
John. Sounds like they got the right idea going to there, and you're going to, Key North.
I still can't believe the temperatures, but so.
You need to get yourself a burner before you go up there, John.
We just
got a whole bunch of them in.
Really?
Yeah, we're getting a display, and we've been selling them left and right.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, that's a good thing.
Matter of fact, I put back I put back one for me and one for Mom and Dad. They want one now. Mom shot one last week.
Well,
so
my friend, she's bought one when we were doing the show last week. She waved and she went out, and she got one, and I'm going to go over and help her make sure that she's comfortable. It's about as comfortable as you can get. It's almost like, I hate to denigrate it to squirt gun kind of thing, but it's kind of like, you put water in a squirt gun, it can sit there for 10 years, and you pull the trigger and you squirt, and that's, but this is, the burners are just, they are kind of in a league by themselves right now. There's other stuff out there, but
5 seconds.
All right.
Okay. From LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studio. I got JC sits to my left. No Big Ed today. We always have Ella back at the station. And, of course, the live studio audience. The amazing thing, John, is there's like one of them out there today, and man, they make the sound. Like, can you imagine if there was 3 people out there today?
This was the I don't know what's going on, but this is lightly attended. We know where some people are.
They're home in bed like I wish I was.
Yeah.
Guys, our next guest is the founder of The Reload, which is a phenomenal source for gun news. Stephen and his team. Truly, they do remarkable work. I mean, it is remarkable work. It's our go-to for tons of stories each week. We wanted him to bring him back onto the show, actually, to talk about a case, a Supreme Court case, where they heard oral arguments this week that could be decided soon, and it could have huge ramifications for the Second Amendment world. So we wanted to bring back our good friend, Stephen. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We are good. And you know what JC brought up during the break? We totally forgot, but JC?
I did not forget. I was going to send you a personal congratulations on being a husband now. So this is fantastic. So congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you. It's going really great so far. I'm really enjoying the married life.
Not do it. In about 40 years, it'll drop off a little bit. But I'm only speaking from experience. Sorry, honey. You were just the best.
Steve, we wanted to bring you on today because this week the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a case of US versus Hemani. And the premise around this case is that Ali Hemani, back in 2022, he was a known and I think an admitted user of marijuana and was charged with the possession of firearms, charged federally with it. And he went through appeals and has made his way to the Supreme Court. And now, after oral arguments this week, let me just say this. Here are a few headlines from around the internet this week after they heard these arguments. The Supreme Court appears likely to let stoners own guns. The Supreme Court appears ready to rule that marijuana users have a right to bear arms. Court to hear arguments on whether and when drug users may possess firearms. Sir, this has a lot of ramifications potentially.
Absolutely. And certainly even if they just cordon it off to marijuana use, that's still probably the most popular scheduled drug in the country, right? Well, maybe not scheduled because you got a lot of prescription drugs on there too, but you get the idea. It's certainly one of the most popular recreational drugs out there, and so whatever they decide in this case could have ramifications for millions of Americans.
Millions.
So, Steve, tell us a little bit about the background. What went on this week with the oral arguments? They were fascinating. I mean, I spent a lot of time reading a lot of your articles. It was fascinating to hear what went on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was a bit of a surprise for most court watchers, because I think going into this, a lot of people who maybe would side with recreational marijuana users on being able to own guns, still thought that this was going to be a case that the justices were pretty skeptical of, because the defendant here is not, he's accused of quite a lot more than just the marijuana use, even accused of being connected to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. However, the important distinction, right, is that he wasn't actually charged with anything like that. He's just charged with admitting to using marijuana every other day and possessing a firearm. And so when you got to oral arguments, the justices really did stick to just what he was actually charged with, and the other allegations around him that the government had included in its brief didn't really impact much. And it went much better for Hemani, or Hemani, however you pronounce his name, than I think people expected.
Well, I mean, and it was interesting to hear the different judges, both on the liberal side and the conservative side. I mean, you started a couple of times. I had to stop reading and think, okay, this is a traditionally conservative Supreme Court justice, and they're saying this, and vice versa, because it's a little bit twisted. I mean, it's the U.S. government versus him. So they're arguing that it should remain in place that if you're a user of marijuana, that you shouldn't be able to own firearms. So then it went down a whole path of, well, what's defined as a user? I mean, I could have been a user up until last week, and now I've kicked the habit, and now I'm not a user. I mean, there's a lot of things that play into this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it did scramble a bit of your sort of expected politics of the justices here, maybe how people might expect them to react to a Second Amendment case like this, based on who they were appointed by or how they've ruled in the past. Because you got essentially Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Samuel Alito, two Republican appointees, two of the more conservative members of the court. They were the most sympathetic, I think, to the government's position in this case, which is that yes, using marijuana regularly, a couple times a week, should make somebody lose their gun rights, even under the Second Amendment. Whereas you had all three of the liberal justices, three of the Democratic appointees, Sotomayor and Kagan and Jackson, they all seemed to be much more sympathetic to this Second Amendment argument, that actually that's not enough proof that somebody is dangerous, that there's a historical analog that fits this modern law. They weren't sure about that, because that's supposed to be the court standard for Second Amendment cases. And so it kind of definitely riled up, mixed around what you might expect to hear from some of these justices.
Yeah, anytime you have every Town for Gun Safety supporting the Trump administration stand on something, you know that there's some mix in this salad, so it's pretty crazy.
It is, and and some of the arguments or some of the things that came to my mind is, okay, yeah, I mean, the first thing I thought of, okay, you allow it for this. What's the jump? Is this the jump off to then? What's the difference between someone who uses marijuana and who uses, pick your next drug? That's out there that's not legal at the moment and stuff. So it really is. I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult thing. And at one point, there was some discussion about letting the lower courts hear these on a case by case premise, and I'm like, there's no way that you're going to sink the courts if you did this, on a case-by-case to try to determine if the person is a dangerous lawful user, JC.
Well, and absolutely. And then people who have been convicted, hey, what? Now the Supreme Court says that it was okay, so now you're going to have, it's going to just tie up the courts just immensely, I think.
Stephen, you guys are immersed in it and know a lot of the ins and outs. What's your gut? I mean, do you think that they're going to rule that a user of marijuana is going to be able to get their gun rights back?
It definitely seemed from the tenor of oral arguments that there were probably 6 or 7 justices who thought that Hemani had the better side of this case. Now, Hemani he's challenged this on an as-applied basis, so just to him and his conduct, right? They're not necessarily saying the whole law is unconstitutional, so you might get a fairly narrow ruling, but even a narrow ruling here his conduct was using marijuana every other day or a couple times a week. So that's probably going to, like I said at the top, that's probably millions of people implicated. Not necessarily all of them have been charged with this crime, right? But you have a lot of people in America who use marijuana recreationally and own guns. Like that's just the reality of the situation. So the impact could be quite large. It'll be more interesting, though, to you guys' point here. One of the big concerns from Justice Roberts was this idea of how do we set a standard? Is every single drug user, are we going to have to look at every single one of their situations individually, and how would that tap the courts versus and then the other justices, like Justice Barrett, for instance, another Republican appointee, Trump appointee, said, you could go to even more sympathetic case than someone who uses marijuana. What about people who use Xanax? So that's a scheduled drug as well. The justices were kind of looking across the board. What about people who use harder drugs? How do you handle that situation? Is this, how does the Second Amendment interact with illegal drug use, or even prescribed drug use could be implicated in some cases here. So, really, there's a lot of variation. I don't know if the court it wasn't necessarily that six or seven justices all came down on the exact same points that they were making. It's just that 6 or 7 of them seemed more sympathetic towards Hemani, and then really you only had Alito and Roberts that seemed more sympathetic towards the government.
Wow, it's crazy. I mean, it really is. I mean, off the cuff, you hear it and you think you form kind of a quick opinion. Oh yeah, of course it should be this way. But when you start reading the details of it and the details of the oral arguments, pretty soon you realize that, wow, this is not nearly as cut and dry as that you might think it would be.
Complicated. I like what Barrett said. The question she asked, she goes, "So what's the government's evidence that using marijuana a couple times a week makes you dangerous?" I mean, so what? How do you come down on that? And then every time you fill out a form to purchase a firearm, it says, "Are you a user of marijuana?" And that goes into the mix, and it makes people lie. I think a lot. So it's
certainly be interesting.
Crazy.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for jumping on with us today. Thank you and your team for all your work you do. It's really phenomenal. Tell everyone who, if they haven't seen The Reload, how do they get to it?
Yeah, you can head over to thereload.com and sign up. We have a free weekly newsletter if people want to get an idea of the kind of work we do, and we are member funded, so we're not beholden to any big corporation or billionaire owner or anything. It's all the members that drive what we do. So that's how we keep going. And if people are interested in more in-depth discussion on this topic too, we also have the weekly Reload podcast. You can find on any podcasting app, and we're having Second Amendment scholar David Koppel on this week to give a deep dive into this topic.
Well, you wake me up every Friday morning at about 6:30 is when it comes across my phone. So I wake up for that, and I just really appreciate all the work that you and your staff do. It's just it's excellent.
And if you're ever in this neck of the woods, you got to stop by and jump on and sit with us here for a show.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'd love to try out the range too.
Yeah, anytime. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. That is Stephen Gutowski from The Reload, founder of The Reload, awesome publication if you want to keep up on your Second Amendment rights to bear arms. Guys, on the other side, let's continue this conversation if you want. The phone number, JC, I have to dust it off here. The phone number is 614-821-9886. If you want to call, and let's talk about this, because I have pretty strong views on this. It's not necessarily the right way, but it's just, hey, it is what it is, guys. This is what the forum to talk about it and to talk about why you feel that way. And my views aren't absolute. So if you want to chime in on it, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good. This is supposed to, by the way, they think that the decision will be made by the end of June.
Wow, so that's right. It's coming up.
Got their work cut out for them.
As let's jump to a break. On the other side, we'll take your calls. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
Info on the go.
The Bartletts say they are watching.
Really?
Yes. Hey. I said, the crowd here says, hey.
Hey, John, Barb, hey, yeah, we miss you.
That was good, JC.
That was good. It is amazing. They're going to have to make a decision, and I mean, even the conservatives are going, well, wait a minute, that's what Bartlett. What's the evidence that using it? And then she said, well, what about what if someone illegally uses Xanax or Ambien for sleeping, and borrow your husband or wife's Ambien and take it. And so now am I an illegal
I guess
user?
For me, it comes down to kind of a broad thing. If you use an illegal narcotic, I don't think you should be able to own a firearm. And in my eyes, and maybe it's just from years of this, I view it still as illegal, even though it's becoming commonplace. And I look at the going to becoming more. 1 minute, you said?
Okay, but I'm right with you.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
today's marijuana is not like it was for the people that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s. When you go back to that time period, it just is different. Science has moved on and is now 30, 40 times as potent as it was back then. And I don't want someone driving behind me, even in a car, who's stoned. I like the mention when he goes, they're concerned about the stoners out there. Well, Eugene Stoner is the one who came up with the AR-15. So I thought, So
all right, let's see what we got here. JC Will is on hold. Oh, we got a call, JC.
We got a call. Yay! Okay.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're ready, Al. WC 6 first warning weather for today: scattered rain showers, possibly in the afternoon, although some just came through here at the store. A few storms are likely to be strong later on. High of 73. Tonight, isolated showers, mostly cloudy skies, low of 44. For Sunday, becoming sunny. Looks like it's going to be a nice day. High of 60. It is currently 72 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Central Ohio's choice for news, traffic, weather, and sports. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Guys, if you don't want to hear me sit here and grovel over flashlights all day long, give us a call, 614-821-9886. And I think Will has started to save us because Will has called in. Will, you're on with OnTarget. How are you, sir?
Good. I'm doing well. I think most of you guys are doing well. But on this issue with the marijuana, I see two problems with this. One, if we root for the side to limit or eliminate gun ownership, gun possession with marijuana, I see all these lefty communist strongholds of going the other way. Well, now we're going to look at, wait a minute, somebody broke their leg, they got 3 Percocets. Oh, they can't have a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's the slippery slope on it.
Right, because before, when it was as it is now, seemed to go along fine. But now when you run it through the court system, I can see the Ginthers, the Dallas people, everything in California. They're just salivating for it to be okay. Now we can just pile on. Well, if it's good enough to keep them from out when they use marijuana, then any scheduled drug.
So,
plus, the other thing I look at is if somebody has cancer, and I am normally a very anti-recreational drug, but I think if a person has cancer, whether it be marijuana or other drugs, whatever gets them through the day should be fair game for them.
Right, and then how can we justify taking away their right to keep and bear arms in that case? I mean, that's why
right.
I struggle so much with it. I don't know, JC.
And there is medical marijuana. A lot of states started out with that and then went to recreational, and there is a difference there for people that really need it medically, and a physician says that it's okay. But
I think the problem with that is that was bastardized real quick when the doctor, I'll write you for medical marijuana. I mean, if the docs were writing it for people who are cancer patients, Will, kind of to your point, and it was being used for true medicinal purposes, not because the hippie guy was looking to be able to do it legally, I'm on board with giving them the rights. But I think for me, it comes back to a law and order. If it is considered a scheduled narcotics, Schedule 1 narcotic with the federal level, then I think you can't allow it. I think it has to be allowed. Now, you're going to say, well, heck, we're right on the verge of taking that out of that. I don't know then, you know?
And I think what Will pointed out, I mean, the people who don't want us to have guns, hey, let's have everyone have recreational. Let's pass this so we know everyone's using it. Oh, guess what? Now you can't have guns. I think that's what every town from gun safety and these gun control groups are supporting the Trump administration, saying, no, it should be illegal to have. Oh, so let's pass laws and have recreational for everyone. Oh, guess what? Now you have no gun rights. I mean, that's what they would be thinking.
Will, are you still with us, Will?
Yes, I am.
So what do you think, how do you think, from what you know, how do you think the Supreme Court will come down on it?
From what I'm seeing on it, I think that it will rule that marijuana users that have a valid prescription for it will be exempt. They will be able to buy firearms. That's my viewpoint. Yeah. I think some of them will come around. It won't be just a wide open, whether it's the guy on the corner that he's every minute he's awake, he's taking some kind of drug, smoking weed, whatever. But I think that's what it'll come down to. If you've got a valid prescription for that, and it'll be just like alcohol or other stuff. If you are in a self-defense or even committing a crime, were you under the influence at the time versus not under the influence?
Right.
Will become the standard.
And that's a good point, Will. And maybe it does come down. Maybe it comes down. Maybe the line in the sand is if you have a valid prescription, as it says today. Now, like I said, if it goes off of Schedule 1, maybe it's a different story. But that might be a good go-between. Thanks for calling in, Will. Thanks for listening to us. Guys, if you want to jump in, 614-821-9886 is the number. I think, JC, the other thing for me is that I tend to be a pretty hardcore law and order. If it's against the law, by golly, we need to enforce it. And I think what pains me is that it is treated... I wouldn't have as much of a problem with legalizing marijuana if it was used out there, if you saw the use similar to alcohol. It's done at bars. It seems like those who use it regularly treat it like a cigarette rather than a can of beer. I don't see nearly, not even close to the number of people driving down Bethel Road with a beer in their hand as I do see them smoking a joint. Yeah, that's the problem I have.
We've talked about that. You pull people over and somebody in the
all
cars.
The time.
It's there it is. So, and then these thresholds. I mean, states usually have the thresholds for when you're under the influence and what constitutes you being an VI and versus the others. With marijuana, they haven't really had a uniform stretch because it's tested through urine. It stays in your system for 30 days. I mean, even if you just smoke once and you get tested 30 days later,
2 minutes.
There it goes. So they'd have to really take a look at government setting some standards anyway if they were going to kind of.
Right. Hey, let's jump to one more caller, JC. We only got a couple minutes left. Let's jump to Tom. Tom, you're on with OnTarget. How are you?
Pretty good. There's more than one condition that a person could suffer from that should keep them from owning a firearm. For example, if someone is using marijuana or another drug illegally, but if they're also psychotic, what are you going to do? You're given the hands of... they may even require for a person to have, if they do pass it, something to certify from a psychiatrist that, they're okay. But also, I'd like to broach on that problem. Glenn Beck is now advertising a non-lethal weapon that everybody in the family should have. These are like tasers. Yeah. What if a child gets a hold of this and shoots it into the face of his brother or sister?
Yeah, it is. And you're probably talking. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for the call. You're talking about the Byrna. We push them a lot here, and you're right. I mean, it's like any defense weapon, whether it be a firearm, a baton, a can of mace,
a BB gun,
or a BB gun. Yeah, we still have to use.
You still have to use common sense, and you still need to keep them locked up from the little ones.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's a good point.
It's a good discussion, JC, and it's nothing we're going to solve today, but it is going to be solved here shortly for all of us, and so we'll keep you up on it. Thanks, guys, for calling in. Thanks to Tom and Will and the callers for calling in. Sorry to the one we didn't get to today. Next week, we'll keep you updated on more things that are affecting your right to keep and bear arms. We're going to talk about some new products and you never know. Maybe we'll get to my flashlight discussion. DC, just maybe. Guys, have a great week this week. And as always, let's be careful out there.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Save 610 WTVN Columbus on your presets. Free. Never sounded so good. Get Eco.
Not too bad, Ella.
Hey, Aaron, what are those?
Yeah, 2 more
Those are what are
calls
known
that we
as
didn't get to,
toilets.
so that topic did well.
I know the toilets,
let's
but why are they
put it on
sitting
open
back
phones.
to back like bookends? Congratulations, Jerry. You said the magic word.
Did you go back and listen to our opening?
Bookends? Bookends is the magic word. Take a seat, Jerry.
Disappointed.
I choose
I'm gonna
this one. A good choice. That is the world's most luxurious toilet.
After the intro,
How much is it?
$6,500,
including installation.
I said something
What?
to the effect.
For $6,500, this thing would have to iron my shirts, shine my shoes, and sing happy birthday to me.
Being, the tough guy image.
It does way more than that, Jerry. I'm switching to the other one. How much is this one?
$650,
including installation. Wow, that's a great deal.
There's this one called Love Song that
it does exactly what you would expect, Jerry. From $650 to $6,500. Eco has a toilet for everyone. Give it away, plumbers, genius electricians, and you can always trust our HVAC technicians. Get Eco. That counts.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere.
For another
Had a
3
stroke.
weeks.
Super hard.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
How did you?
Life
How
insurance.
were you stalking?
This is why I have life insurance.
Yeah. Yellow flowers.
Best place to get life insurance.
Tracker on your car.
How often do you internet stalk me?
Because you can do it in 10
you know what's
minutes,
funny?
and there's no medical
wait, hold on
exam
one
and no
second.
blood
Still on
test.
Facebook.
Just a few health questions.
You know what?